You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to Cards to the Moon. This is episode 153. And I'm Clark from 5cardguys.com and 5cardguys on Instagram. With me co-hosting as usual is Hyung of Integrity Sports Cards. Missing in action this week is John, but he should be back next week. In the meantime, for today's episode, we do have another guest on the pod. If you heard our last two episodes, we've been getting guests who recently attended the National to tell us their experience from the biggest card show event. We heard from Rob, the sports card therapist, and Iowa Dave already. And today we have our friend Darrell Chan, aka DC, to tell us his stories from the National. So stay tuned for that. But first, off the top, I just want to talk about the Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout Topps Now WBC card. It's a crazy card, yeah, where I believe the story is that Trout bought 3 of these Topps Now card where it shows him striking out against Shohei to give Japan the championship win. And he signed the 3 copies. Then he got Shohei to sign it as well, making it a dual auto. And then Trout got it graded at PSA. 2 of them came back a dual 10-10. And one was a 9-10, I believe. And it looks like he gave Shohei one of the 10-10s as a gift. His interpreter got one as well, and he kept one for himself.
What a lucky interpreter.
Seriously.
That thing is a grail. I think it's a grail. Like there's such a unique story behind it, and it's crazy. That card's blowing up, literally blowing up. You check eBay sales right now.
Yeah.
And that's what, good marketing does. That picture of Trout and Ohtani is everywhere right now, right? And, now you look at eBay prices, they're selling for a pretty decent amount. So I think, and that answers our question. Remember in previous episodes, Topps Now.
Right.
Is it a little cooler?
Too bad John wasn't on this podcast to see if he's all in on Topps Now. I'm thinking that it takes someone like Trout to really market the Topps Now card for Topps, right?
For sure. I personally think the branding sucks, to be honest. I think that's what hurt Topps Now. I think they could make moments, let's just say, and not call it like Topps Now and brand it such a kind of like a paper card, make it chrome, make it like a very big, especially like Aaron Judge's 60-second home run. You could make a really sick limited card, make it like a collectible, desired collectible. But I think the Topps Now brand in general is kind of weak. So I hope one day they could kind of up. And we talked about that with the timeless moments with like the Vince Carter cards and stuff like that, where it becomes kind of like that. But don't get me wrong, that card is sick. I think in general, just I watched that moment, just see that card. I think it's it will hold value in collectors' hands for sure. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I'm with you. I saw funny Lameme. Meme? Yes. I had a brain fart. I'm like, Lameme meme? Where he was joking about the PSA getting a 10-10 grade and someone asking if they could get a 10-10. He's like, "You're not Mike Trout," and he gets slapped in the face. So I wonder, well, what are the chances that Mike Trout, of all people, got a nice dual 10-10 grade on a Topps Now paper card, right? So anyway, and I was thinking, do you think this is Trout's way of convincing Shohei to stay in LA?
Oh man, well, I'll tell you what, I don't think that's the intention, because I don't think he'll have too much control over that. But I think he definitely did the hobby a favor, just having so many eyes on it, right? Outside of the hobby, because they're like, what's the big deal with these slabs? People probably don't even know what PSA slabs are to the outside world, right? So it's like having that exposure. We're talking hundreds of millions of views on that kind of like news, right? So Yeah, it's I think overall, just in general, like it's great for the hobby, great exposure for the hobby, and two legends of the game that are pretty much promoting it, right? So especially Topps
Absolutely.
now, ironically, that's the ironic thing.
Yeah, true that. And Mike Trout's definitely become an unofficial ambassador for both Topps and definitely for PSA. He's been really helping those guys out. So anyway, cool card. You got to check it out if you haven't already. It's all over social media. And yeah, I think it's going to just be one of those iconic Topps Now cards. With that, let's play our interview that we had with Darrell Chan, aka DC, about his experience at the National. All right, as we said in the intro to this episode, we have our friend and a serious sports card collector, Darrell Chan, back on the show with us today. If you're in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area, you've probably seen DC at the Sports Card Expo with his extensive collection, mostly baseball cards, which we like here on this pod. Both Hyung and I have done trades and deals with him in the past, so we can definitely vouch for him. And if you missed our first interview with Darrell on this podcast, he always has great stories about his hobby experience, whether it's a major flip that he was able to do or just hitting some big cards, breaking a personal box or case. So that's why we wanted him back on the show today to tell us some of his stories actually from the National, which he just returned from. And so without further ado, Darrell, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. I love being on here, especially when I can listen to my own voice in the replay.
I love it.
Yeah. And when you were there, we were kind of messaging each other back and forth, and near the end, Darrell was like, "Oh, I got stories for you." So we're like, we have to have him on the pod. This is why we're doing this episode. So Darrell, let's just get right into it. I know you have a bunch of stories, but what's, I don't know, the craziest or the funniest or the wildest story that just on the top of your head that you want to share with us right now?
I would say the craziest thing that happened, which was totally unexpected, was on maybe the second last day, so the Saturday, when I was coming back from lunch. We always eat at Gibson's across the street.
Right, yeah.
I'm coming back from lunch, and I see the lobby is packed, but not people waiting. It's kids and adults actually setting up their own booths
Wow,
outside
okay.
in the lobby. So these guys are set up on the floor. They have like their slab cases, and they have like literally like a showcase worth of cards, like maybe like a 4x5 rows of slabs that they're literally selling. So at first I was like, this is kind of funny. They're blocking the way. Like I thought it was a line to Starbucks.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was literally people in the hallway selling their cards. So I start walking by and I'm looking to see if there's anything good I want. I'm like, there's some kid stuff. It's like, there's some Pokemon. There's some whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then by the escalator, there's this really weird looking guy. This guy with chains and stuff like that. He's got two slab cases, and it's all football. It's got like Mahomes, T-Laws, like crazy stuff, national treasures, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh wow, there's some really good stuff here. What's the price like? He goes, are you looking to pay cash, or are you looking to pay Venmo, or you looking to trade? I go, I don't know. Give me all the options. So he would be like, okay, if you pay cash for this card, it's $5,000. If you want to pay by Zelle, it's $7,500. And if you want to trade, it's $10,000 in trade.
Wow,
so now
okay.
I'm like,
Wow.
what the heck is going on with this? He goes, cash is king. I need cash. I don't want to be tracked by whatever. So if you want to pay cash, you can get a good deal. But if you want to do these other item ways, then you gotta pay something else. Yeah. So I was like, okay. I actually looked through his stuff. It was just not stuff for me, because I brought my own stuff. I brought like 15 cards there, like high cards, some which I sold like the first day at the National, but at the end I still had some nice pieces. So after looking at that on the Sunday, when it was kind of cooling off, like you could walk in the National like no problem. Like Sunday afternoon around 1:00, I saw one of my buddies, him and his girlfriend were set up at like a pole, And I was like, come on, man, are you really setting up? He goes, buddy, I just did 1,800 in sales. I was like,
Wow.
what?
In the black market.
Yeah, so this is funny because this is outside, and the reason
Yeah.
people were setting up outside is because you could hear the stories like, man, those dealers are offering me 60% of comps of some BS comps,
Right.
and then they're selling stuff at like something crazy expensive, and I gotta walk through that, and there's like no heat. Like, I mean, now there was, because you guys must have heard about the heating issue.
Yeah, we heard.
Right. The first couple of days it was boiling in there. And then they figured out people had fans like later on, but then maybe the last couple of days they figured out the AC issue. But like people were complaining about outside. So it's funny, you have some kids that are out there set up, and their parents are literally chaperoning the situation, right? Because they're standing there with their kids that are dealing with cash. So basically it was a trade night, because the trade nights were ridiculous.
What do you mean?
Like the trade nights during the show,
Mhm.
like were happening in the hotels.
Right.
I don't know if you heard, but like Lowe's got shut down,
Yeah.
and other people, like the trade nights were crazy. The lineup inside for one of the trade nights at the actual at the outer parts, like the conference rooms,
Yeah.
there was a lineup. After the national close, there's a crazy ass line just to get in. And I didn't go to any of the trade nights, but seeing the amount of people at the trade nights was ridiculous.
Mm.
So going back to this crazy part, my friend is set up against this pole, and then I see prime real estate like this against the wall beside the Pepsi machine. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna set up my cards. So I put out these cards, like I have like 15 cards,
Mhm.
and all my stuff is high end, right? So I'm just sitting on the ground, and then people are passing by, whatever. And this guy comes and he's like, hey, I see you're setting up. What else is in that box? I go, oh, I picked up this Ronaldo auto for myself. Like it was a first year Topps Chrome. And the guy's like, you want to sell it? I'm like, of course I'll sell it. But of course,
Of course
I
you'll
don't want to
sell
sell
it.
it. I picked this up for myself, right?
Yeah.
So the guy, what are the comps? I go, there's no comps for this card. You can look up, you can try to find a comp. I didn't find a comp. So he's like, shoot me a number. I go, how about $1,500? Right?
Mhm.
And he's like, I can't get to 1,500. How about 1,000? I'm like, no, I don't think so. But 1350, I'll do it. Right? I already know this guy wanted this card. You can tell this guy wanted this card. 1350 goes, come on, 1250, meet in the middle. Go, no such thing. I never lose deals. I cannot meet you halfway. None of that. So he's like 1325. I go, done. Take the card. So he took that card. I did my first sale sitting outside in a makeshift booth.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then before I left, this one guy comes and he sees, like a lot of people came because I had nice stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
This guy comes, he's like, how much for the Jordan? Because I got a Jordan. Well, I'll show you the other Jordan, but I also acquired a Jordan 6.5, SGC 6.5. So this guy comes and goes, would you trade? I go, what is it? So he had a bunch of Jordan, like relics, like game use jersey, like all BGS and stuff like that. It was okay. And I comped it out. Like I literally comped it out because he was like, I'll give you like 4,500 worth of trade for this. And I tried to comp it. I was like, I can't get the 4,500. He goes, I want the card though. So you want to just take cash? I go, yeah, I'll take cash. Same thing. Sold it for 3,400.
This is what, the Jordan rookie?
Jordan 6.5, SGC 6.5. So basically I had that Ovechkin BGS 9.5, and I was shopping it around the show, but some people were like, it's okay, but they're like, it's not worth that. I go, it's True Gem Plus.
Yeah.
So some of these guys think that people are stupid and they don't understand what the subs are.
Right.
But just left it. But then I had one guy, and it's funny because he's from Toronto, and he saw me. He's like, DC, I heard you might want some Jordans. I go, it's possible. What do you want? You want to trade? So he's like, we didn't have to come all the way to Chicago to do this trade, brother. We could have done this in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's funny. So he goes, I have this Jordan SGC 6.5, and then we traded. I traded him straight. So instead of me selling the Ovechkin, I just went through a second step and sold the Jordan, which is essentially the Ovechkin anyway.
Right.
So I made 47.25 in sales outside in my makeshift lobby, which at the end
Yeah.
Closer to the end of the show, I actually got a table and chair, and I'll send you the pictures later, but I posted on Instagram, and I actually had like a sign that said Sports Center.
Oh
I had
yeah,
a
I
table in
remember
front of
that.
me, and I had all the
Yeah.
cards up front.
Yeah, I think I
Amazing.
So
saw
like
that
it
photo
was
too.
great jokes. Like at the end of the day, like I wasn't planning to set up, but I actually got some deals done.
That's nice. Yeah. So you and others, I guess, all set up in the lobby of
Yeah,
the
it was
hotel,
crazy.
where, of the National or the hotel?
Of the National.
Of the National. Okay.
Yeah.
And no
But
one
I
came
heard
by.
that,
No one
sorry?
came by to say, "Hey, you guys can't do this."
No, security came by and I guess there wasn't anything that they could do. Nothing
Yeah.
happened. They just let it go. But I think some dealers were kind of angry and stuff
Oh,
like
I
that.
could see that. Right.
Yeah. But they don't know what's happening. But you could see like there were a lot of people that were fed up outside, and then there were just people trading amongst themselves. I think those trade nights went really, really long just because people found different type of value there.
Mm-hmm.
Even like what people were paying or what people were selling or trading for. I found that a lot of people found that was really, really good.
Right.
I don't know if you know, but the National had tried to shut down these trade nights, these announcements.
Leading
Yes.
up to it. Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah,
heard.
but they couldn't, and it was nuts. Like any hotel that was even remotely close to the National where people were staying,
Mm-hmm.
there were trade nights happening all the time, like in the lobbies.
Yeah.
Just people just sitting out there, and like I don't know these people. I just see a slab case. I go, "What do you got?"
Right. 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 That's what we heard, because we interviewed Rob, the sports card therapist, and
Yeah.
he and I guess and a group that he was part of organized an official or unofficial trade night, like at a legit place that they rented out, and they
Yeah.
knew the National couldn't do anything about it. It was, not on their premises, so they weren't shut down. But they heard stories about, just like you shared right now, of Lowe's being shut down, and just these impromptu trade nights, and it's just kind of silly that the National didn't have the foresight to think about hosting like a trade night of their own, like just an official trade. Why not, right? Instead of
Well,
trying to shut down everyone.
I'm not sure if there was an official one because, like I said, one of the days, I think it was Thursday, when I was walking back through the tunnel back to my hotel at the Hilton,
Yeah.
there was a lineup to go to different conference rooms, and it was a trade night. I don't know if that was officially from the National or what it was, but it
Mhm.
was held on the premises in a different convention hall.
Interesting.
Probably booked it. Maybe somebody booked it up.
Maybe, but it was huge. Like
Right.
there was a lineup to get in. Like the lineup was long.
Wow.
So you could plot businesses on top of that. Like, you know what I mean? You could have your own, trade night. You could, probably open
Charge
a bar
admission.
there, whatever you want.
Charge admission to
Jeez.
trade night.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are we doing in Cleveland, guys?
Yeah. You're reading my mind.
Yeah.
Hey,
There's a business opportunity.
think ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk off air. Darrell, well, neither Hyung and I have gone to the National, and you, amongst others, always tell us we have to go one of these days. So we're trying to for sure make it to Cleveland. How would you compare it though to the Sports Card Expo here in Toronto, which we've been to obviously, and the National, in terms of what kind of dealers are there, the space, what the vibe is, just generally speaking?
So the sheer size of the National it's crazy. I'd say at least 5 or 6 times the size of the Toronto Expo.
Wow, which is the biggest in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I guess it's a little different because at the Expo I'm set up on the other side of the table as a dealer, whereas whenever I go to the National, I don't set up. I don't set up on purpose, just because the logistics of bringing cards over the
Right.
border is a little bit tougher. But from the shopping side, it's kind of fun too to
Mhm.
actually see like what other people have. The rooms this year I found was a little bit messy. Um, Just because, like, I mean, it's good the way they have their placement with corporate is always in the middle, like the main room in the middle. So
Yeah.
you'll always see that stuff. But there was really no particular order the way the other dealers were set up. Like, even my friends that set up there, they had different spots than what they had previous years, which was a little bit interesting. Plus, you throw out like the different stuff with like the breakers kind of pavilion, and then there's different stuff along there, and then there's random food stalls in different spots.
Right.
And then there's like a back room which had like a whole new section plus like where the autographs are.
Yeah.
So I would say after the first day, I kind of got my idea of where everything was. Usually, what I do is I try to break it down into like 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
each like a section into three sections, and then I'll know where everything is, and then I'll walk around and go back to it like later days. But usually, when I find stuff, the best time to find stuff is in the first couple of days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because then you're like looking over like behind 5, 6 people trying to look into a showcase, which is almost like near impossible, especially if you don't know what's in the showcase. Like I'm basically passing by. Oh, do I see a basketball card? If I see a basketball card, maybe that's not what I'm looking for. If I find baseball stuff, I look for Bowman prospects. Then I'm lucky to find like a case is all Bowman. But a lot of the times, I will go to vendors that I know, because usually when I'm trying to sell or trade, I already know where I'm going to go first,
Yeah.
because then I can cut a lot of the crap.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In terms of
Wise, it was a little bit more jumbled. It felt like this year.
okay, good to know. I know. This is like it could range from how some dealers price their stuff well, and others are how did you find that proportion in terms of like when you went from table to table? Was it like last year where you heard stories of dealers just underwater, so they're trying to get as much as they can, or are people being more realistic now, or is it more of the same this year?
There's a little bit of everything. There's definitely people that were overpriced,
Mm-hmm.
which like I'll look at a couple key cards that I know what their prices are, should be
Right.
around,
Yeah.
and then if I see something that is much higher, like say double a comp,
Yeah.
most of the time I just skip over.
Right.
Some guys didn't have pricing, which I still think is really stupid.
That's annoying.
I mean, like, I price everything for a reason. At least you have like a point, instead of someone wasting time to, oh, let me check what the comp is. Because
Right,
if someone
right.
is unprepared, that just makes the experience like really
Right.
not so nice.
Yep.
But then there were some people that had some really good deals, and some people had stuff that maybe they hadn't changed the price from the last show they were at. So it really depends on
Right.
what kind of dealers you see. Because there's some dealers that do like a show once a year that don't have a store.
Mm-hmm.
Literally just didn't feel like price tagging stuff again, so you got like a deal on something if it went up or if it went down. But then you had some guys that were just not nice, because
Right.
I see a card I like, but then the guy will pull like a comp from like,
A few years ago.
yeah,
Yeah, gotcha. 2021.
it's difficult.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I'm interested in. I hope, I hope by the time we go next year, there'll be even more good deals to be had. And, who knows what the market will be like. But yeah, looking forward to finding those deals. DC, how many times have you been to the National?
See, my first one was in Cleveland in 2017,
Okay.
then Chicago 2018, then Chicago 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah. And then this one. So that's four.
4. Okay. So 3 Chicago, 1 Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I won't go to Atlantic City. I refuse.
right. Yeah. I've yet to hear anyone have a glowing review of Atlantic City as a venue for the National. But, okay, that's interesting because first, how would you compare this year's event compared to the previous years you've been to? And how would you describe the difference in venues between Cleveland and Chicago since you've been to both?
So this year, I mean, I liked it. It's bigger. There's a lot of stuff to go see. You can kind of see what the different corporations were doing, which are kind of cool. Whether it was an auction house,
Right.
whether it's like the Topps booth or the Panini booth. I mean, I really appreciated Panini this year because I actually booked the appointment for the redemption thing, because I had a LaMelo Ball
Right.
off the line out of 20, and like it was what I got was really good.
Okay.
So I was like really happy about that. I think the thing is some people don't respect the fact that other people have appointments. So Panini was really good in not kicking them out, but kind of saying like, hey guys, you don't have an appointment. You can't be here. Like there were slots
Right.
basically that you could have booked, And the only reason why I knew about that was because last year I didn't go. The only reason why I would have went last year was to deal with that LaMelo Ball redemption. But I couldn't make it work, and I couldn't drag myself to go to Atlantic City. So this year I made sure that when they announced that Panini was going to be there and dealing with the redemptions, first thing I did was book that time slot, and I booked a slot available. So
Nice.
totally worth it. And they were really good about it. I think if you go earlier, your choices are better. So basically, um, I got to the line and they said, hey, your redemption is for this. We value it at this. So initially she came at the value of 3,000. I go, this can't be 3,000. Like, I waited a while for it. It's out of 20. The box is expensive. You got to do a little bit better. And she said, okay, I'll give you 5,000. I was like, well, that was easy. Like 5,000. Basically, she gave me 2 National Black Sparkle boxes. And she actually asked me I go, can I pick the player? And she goes, who do you want? I go, Steph Curry, right? Because they're all on-card autos and they're all one-on-ones.
Wow.
So she was like, okay, say less. So I got 2 boxes.
Yeah.
And I didn't open them there. I was going to the Chicago White Sox versus Cubs game. I basically dropped them off in my hotel, and then I opened them live when I got back. But this is one of them.
Nice.
Oh, snap. That's
Steph
nice.
Curry.
Wow.
Flawless Steph Curry,
Sick.
which normally green would be out of 5. But
Right.
it's stamped 101. Like on the back, they all say this black box 101.
Yeah, it's the black box
Seen it.
101s. Yeah.
But actually here, you can actually see
There's white box,
imprinted.
black box.
It's imprinted 101.
Nice.
So
Oh, cool.
they gave me 2 Curry rookies, which was great. I mean, that's better than the LaMelo because what I paid for the redemption.
Right.
Right.
But then I took one of the Curry rookies and I added cash.
Upgraded.
Lear Jordan
Wow.
BGS 8. Nice.
And this was a card that I really, really wanted. Every national I go, I keep telling myself I'm gonna buy or trade for a Jordan.
Okay.
And every year I go, I end up buying something else because there's a deal on something. I want to stock up for Expo, whatever. So I was so happy to get this one this year because this is something I've always wanted.
Nice. That's pretty sweet.
That's sick. It's a great story.
Yeah, I love it. You kind of answered my next question, but did you have a specific game plan going into the National other than trying to pick up that MJ card you just showed us?
Definitely. Like I said, I chop up the venue into like 3 parts usually.
Yeah.
If I can walk certain things just to look at every case, and plus I have the advantage of going because I have a dealer pass, right? So I'm in at like 8:30, and I can see stuff that before the regular even VIPs get in. So I have like an extra hour to
Nice.
kind of look at stuff. So sometimes dealers are a little hesitant to sell to other dealers because they think they're going to just put in their own case. It's the same thing in Expo.
Right.
On the VIP Wednesday night, if it's a dealer coming, most likely I'm not going to sell them something unless they overpay.
Right.
But I'm not going to give someone a deal like that so they can put in their showcase. But yeah, being able to go in there early allows me to make a game plan. So every time I see a card that I want or I'm interested in, I take a photo of it and then I edit it and I write down what booth number it's in.
Okay. Yeah.
So this way I can go back. I know which booth I got to go back to go pick this up.
Good idea.
Things. And this way I can also compare, especially if someone else has a different price or someone else has like I was looking at a lot of vintage this year. I was looking at mantles. So I'm looking for eye appeal stuff. I'm looking for stuff
Right.
in certain price range. So definitely that goes into my planning. If I feel that something is not going to sell, I'll wait until a later day, and then I'll kind of come in with a different offer later on. But that's part of my game plan. But definitely the inventory changed so much between certain booths from first day to last day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you'll see a lot of that stuff happening.
Ah, good to know. That's good. Good tip. Yeah, because I've heard different things, right? Like some people say, get there early, do your deals early. Others say be patient. But I guess knowing that for some booths, the inventory changes, then if you really see a card that you like early on,
You got to get it. You got to get it.
Right.
You can't really mess around. If you already know what the price should be, you shouldn't be nickel and dime so much, because then if you try to negotiate, like say something's priced at like $1,200 and it's worth $1,200, and you go, I'll give you $1,000. The guy's like, no, whatever. And then you walk around, you do a circuit, you come back and it's sold. Now you feel stupid. Right? So, I think the thing is with the National, there's so much inventory and so many booths. You might be able to find another one, but there's always that FOMO, right? Like, especially if you miss something. I had this happen to me the last day. I was looking at this mantle, 53 Topps. I wanted to upgrade the one I have.
Yeah.
And this guy had one. It was pretty cheap. It was a SGC1. SGC1, yeah. And it was $1,400.
Okay.
$1,400 pretty good. Actually, I took a pretty good look at the card. It wasn't creased. It looks like it was bent, but not to the point of creasing. But it was in the middle of the card. So I was like, okay, I'll do this quick circuit, walk around, and I'll think about it. I came back. The guy wasn't there, but I guess his daughter was there and said, okay, he'll be back in like 10 minutes. Leave me your phone number. Tell me which card you want. She had no idea anything about this stuff.
Right.
So I left my phone number. So I walked around again. 15 minutes later, the guy calls me and he's like, yeah, so you're looking for something? I go, yeah, I was looking at that Mantle SGC1. He goes, oh, I just sold it.
Right.
So that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
That was the FOMO I had.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that if you don't move quickly enough on something that's a good deal, or even something that you really, really covet, you feel bad about it later.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to know. Good advice there too. All right. Well, I have one more question concerning the National, and you know how it goes. We like to do some rapid fire at the end.
Sure.
But I don't know if you answered this already. Between Chicago and Cleveland, like how is Cleveland different than Chicago, so we can prepare for next year? Other than the size, I know Chicago is probably the biggest venue out of all of them.
So I think Cleveland's setup of the show is more organized.
Okay.
It's definitely not as big, but it's still nice. The thing is with Chicago, that Chicago has that Cleveland doesn't, is that Chicago has so much stuff to do in the city outside of the show. Like I went earlier this year on purpose so I can be a tourist, right? Basically the first couple of days before.
Yeah.
I got there on the Monday, I did some tourist stuff. I went downtown. I went on that architectural boat tour. Like I went to eat some really nice restaurants and stuff like that. So it's not just card overload. It's a lot of stuff. It's actually quite tiring only doing card stuff. Cleveland, the only problem is that the hotels you're most likely going to stay at are downtown, which is like an Uber right away. You can't just walk across the street.
Right.
It's not the same. But I mean, Cleveland, I did like it. The internet, I think, was better there, if I recall.
Okay.
And definitely did not have a heat issue.
Right.
But I think just even the way the booths were set up, it was a little bit more organized than here. Like this had like way too many things going on. There was like 3 different rooms. And then there was parts I didn't even realize existed until after like the 3rd day.
What do you mean?
Like there was a section that I totally didn't see.
Okay.
It's not that I didn't walk past it. It's just that you had to walk through Breaker Pavilion to more corporate stuff, and then there was a whole other section.
Gotcha.
Only reason I found out about that is because there's a buddy of mine that I asked him where he was set up, and he told me the number. I was like, "Where is this number?" I didn't even know.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay. Well, good to know. Of what we can expect when we go to Cleveland next year. But yeah, Darrell, I'm like 99.5%. Hyung, where are you at?
I'm somewhere there. I can't commit 100%, but it's up there in the 99 to 100%. We'll make it work. We got to make it work.
Yeah,
I think what's really cool about the National though,
yeah,
is that it's not just cards; it's collectors getting together and meeting other people that have the same interests, and you can talk.
It's a community.
Yeah, which is great. Because
Love it.
I was in line. We went to go eat at this pizza place, and the guy in front of me, I was just asking, "Oh, how long you been waiting for? Did you make a reservation? Stuff, blah 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 blah." And then somehow the conversation got to golf, and I said, "I know one of the biggest golf collectors." And he goes, "Who is it?" And I said, and he goes, "Oh, that's my buddy." I go, "He's my roommate right now." So
Right.
we started chatting. We ended up sitting at the same table, And his buddy that was there is like the guy that sold the Kobe logo man.
Wow. Okay.
Oh wow.
So I met like one of the biggest Kobe collectors
Yeah.
too, and then we just talked for a little bit, and it was like really cool. We all got along. We did some deals together, and just something.
The networking, yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like fun for sure. Yeah, and you stay for the whole week?
I did.
Okay. Yeah. Here, that could be exhausting too. Were you all right afterwards, or were you wrecked?
When I got back, I was pretty tired because, like, honestly,
Okay.
adrenaline is kind of kicking in the whole time of the show. Like,
Right,
I would
right.
get back at like say 2-3 a.m. and then get up at like 7:30 so I can get to the show at like for 8:30.
Right.
So, but that's the only way. Like, there's so much stuff going on at night, and like, we be, either go to a game or we're going drinking or we do some impromptu trade stuff or we go to the casino, whatever it was. Just came back super late, but got up super early. It's just what I paid for was when I flew back, and then the next day had to go to work. Like that was
Right.
that was pretty crazy.
Should have took a day off, man.
No, never days off, man.
Never days
Love
off.
it.
I love it.
The hustle. All right, thanks, Darrell, for that. Let's get right into rapid fire. We usually ask what your favorite PC card at the moment is, but actually, this might be a good opportunity. What was some of your favorite pickups at the National?
Okay, so I didn't get a lot of pickups. I'll be honest. Like, I sold some stuff. I upgraded some of the things that I really, really wanted. But like I said, like this Jordan is everything to me right now.
Okay.
This is probably like this and the Mantle are still my favorite cards right now, just because the length of amount of time it took for me to actually get the card.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't have opportunity to get it. It's just that I really focused this time around to trade towards this.
Yeah,
and the best part is I think we're similar like this, Hyung. Is like we just like the art of the deal. It's like
100%.
it's like I'm so happy to get this Jordan, but I'm happy to get it at what I got it at.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
what I traded for it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to
Absolutely.
disclose the number because I want to sell this maybe later. But I think like just that deal in itself I loved it, right?
Nice.
And again, like that Curry, like this is a
Yeah.
great one. The other one I got was a 101 too, but it's not as nice as this one. It's flawless. But the thing I really, really liked that I found at the National.
Oh,
the
beauty.
Vince Carter.
Out of 5,
Carter?
that's one of my favorite.
Timeless?
That's my favorite Vince Carter, the Timeless. Yeah.
But
I love it.
It's the purple border, and it's the 101
What?
Oh, it's the 101.
from a previous year Sparkle box.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So I'm like super happy
That's
with
sweet
that card.
Yeah.
I think what added to it is that I scooped up the card before another collector that wanted it
Okay.
was behind me
Yeah.
while I was trying to make the deal, and this guy was like, "Oh, is that the 101?" Blah blah blah. I was like, "Hey, just trying to finish this deal."
Yeah.
And then I got a good deal on it, and the guy's like, "Do you want to sell it?" I go, "No, I don't want to sell it." So,
Yeah, that's sweet.
That's beautiful.
That's definitely one of the like Vince Carter's like most wanted cards.
I mean,
For
like
sure.
that card is so iconic.
Yeah.
I've actually had the out of 99 card of this before, but I traded it at the couple expos ago
Right.
for crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But this one, it'll be on display at Expo too. So
Oh man, can't wait to see it in person when we see you next, Darrell.
yeah, for sure.
All
I
right.
guess the other thing I was going to say is that Ohtani, that red Ohtani.
Oh yeah.
So it graded back at BGS 9,
Okay.
10
Nice.
auto,
Yeah.
and it's going to be at Golden. So Golden's auction's going on next week.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Which one? Which red?
84?
Yeah, the 84 Topps Chrome
Got it.
batting with the original
Yeah, it's
signature
sweet.
out of 5.
Yeah.
The one I got at the last Expo.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I think you talked about it last episode. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
We'll look
So
for
I'm
that.
happy with that.
Yeah. You said it's going to go up on Golden.
Yeah, Golden on
Gotcha.
the 15th, the weekly auction.
Cool.
It's actually quite interesting when other auction houses try to get you to list with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I passed by PWCC too just to see what they were saying.
Yeah.
It was
Golden.
interesting. It's a different type of pitch. Some of these guys, like they kind of big you up as like, oh, this card is worth this, and I'm like, oh, it's not worth that.
Right.
And then And then, I just went back to the guys that I worked with last time. I felt comfortable with, right? So,
Yeah.
and they were really honest with me too. Like you said, I think it's going to be this. I go, yeah, that sounds about right. So, we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, Ohtani's still doing well. They won 2 in a row.
I'm sure he will.
One of the few that keeps going up. Every time we have a new episode, we're like, yeah, still going up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. What's one thing you would change at the National?
I feel there's a couple of things.
Mm-hmm. Air conditioning and
definitely got to make sure the air conditioning's working.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a directory or not, but it would be nice if there was a directory where people knew. But the thing is, some stuff is just really random. Like you'll have a baseball booth, like mostly baseball, and then all of a sudden you'll have a Pokemon booth, and then you'll have a baseball booth, and then you'll have a hockey. Like there weren't a lot of hockey booths.
Oh, interesting.
Like, this is very interesting. Like how Expo is totally the opposite. It's like
Right.
all hockey in Expo, but if you go to the National, it's mostly baseball. I would say baseball, basketball, football.
Right.
But I would say predominantly baseball. So you guys would be in heaven there. Like
for sure.
I'm at 99.99% now. All right.
You just bumped it up.
Yeah, no, for sure. You just like if I could even film it, like a lot of people were trying to do like have the gimbal and stuff and try to do stuff, but it was so crowded. It's really difficult. So I would say if you can get splurge for the VIP pass, if you got to hook up, you should get a dealer pass. Like that's a big difference to be able to see stuff ahead of time. I don't know how else they can organize it. I think that, like you said, maybe the trade night, maybe they organize a quote unquote official trade night. They don't have to deal with some of the stuff that's happening outside. I mean, like I was having fun, doing a setup outside. But to be honest with you, from the dealer perspective, as a dealer in Toronto, I can understand how upsetting that would be. I mean, just to go back to one of the things that you guys talked about before about how people do trades in front of your booth.
Right. Yeah.
When I was listening to the episode, I was like, "Hell yeah, that's not cool." I've had people like come and do stuff in front of my booth and put their stuff on my display.
That's not cool.
You can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't do that, right? That's like me trying to do a deal and then someone says, "Well, I'll give you more for that." Hey, buddy, you can't. Let us at least finish our conversation before whatever.
Right.
But do understand from the dealer perspective is that we're paying for a booth. We have expenses that happen. Yeah. It's not that I don't want to do something that's not fair, but at the same time, understand and respect that people have paid to set up here. So without the dealers, there's no show.
Right.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to say.
I hear that.
Yeah, I was having fun at the National, but whatever. Maybe they gotta figure out some stuff to help alleviate that kind of stuff.
Yeah. By having trade nights, just as a suggestion.
A lot of trade nights, but like maybe something that's sanctioned. I mean, I think the way that this were happening, sooner or later they're going to have to figure something out. I don't know how they would enforce it if it's off-site, but I mean, the hotels that got shut down. I mean, when the police come and it's like, "Hey guys, disturbance." People are not even residents. There's a security issue too, right?
Right. True.
There was people that I heard that security guys were being paid to let people in to do trades.
Maybe the security guys are, collectors too.
Tell you, there's a whole black market business within this black market.
It's not the club anymore. It's getting into trade night. You gotta grease the bouncer.
Yeah.
Well, these are all the things we have to think about when we set up our own trade night and charge admission.
We come with deep pockets.
Seriously, we should do trade night, but the sheer amount of money that was being like
changing hands
transacted in the show is ridiculous. I saw one deal, the guy had $50K in cash and just put on the table. There's like 10 stacks. I was like, wow, like that's not. Apparently there was also undercover FBI agents and
interesting
people looking for counterfeit slabs.
Oh,
there was a athlete that was trying to peddle a fake Jordan PSA 10.
Right.
Which I don't know if you guys saw on social media, but someone took a photo of the guy trying to peddle like 3K and stuff like that. Some interesting stuff. I didn't hear about any thefts or attempted thefts this year, but sometimes like people have been known to steal from like those bins and stuff. That's one thing, and I'm not saying that it doesn't count, but someone actually reaching into a showcase and jack something and try running, like
Right.
that's not happening.
Yeah. Okay. Who's the most famous hobby celeb you saw or met at the National? I call them hobby celeb, but
I
yeah,
saw Gary V there. He had a booth set up.
yeah, with V friends, yeah,
And my buddy Carlos, that was set up with my other friend Eli. Gary V bought a card from him. I think he bought a Ronaldo. And
yeah. I saw that on Sluggers55 Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he was there, and like I missed that part. I mean, like I left my bag and stuff there. Like that's my home base. But I saw them that he was there. It was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Rodman was there.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
And also, who else was there? I'm thinking. I missed a couple people. Like these were like there was a couple football guys there. This is outside of the additional autograph pavilion.
Right,
people.
the TriStar.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Ken Golden was there.
Yeah, I didn't see him, but I did see Gary V. So
That's cool.
good. His booth was very interesting because it has nothing to do with collectible. Well, it's collectibles.
Yeah, it's got cards.
Yeah.
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 All right. Cool. I don't know if you have anything on what's going on between Panini and Fanatics. Any thought on that? Just the lawsuit and counter lawsuit.
Counter lawsuit.
Who's gonna win?
Well, Fanatics has a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah, it's
that
like
definitely helps. I almost feel like Panini is kind of stalling so they can bump up the price a little bit and then finally
sell.
get it done.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because like some of this whole thing with you knew what was going to happen.
Mhm.
If anybody that has a monopoly on something, someone's going to bring it up. But this is like last ditch effort. I can't see.
Feels like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see Panini winning. I don't know if Fanatics is gonna get it. The only thing that Fanatics will not get is Upper Deck.
Right.
yeah.
very clear.
I think we were on the same page there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, so for hockey people and I guess Connor Bedard and all the Upper Deck exclusive guys, I mean, there's still stuff going to be coming out and stuff like that. The one thing I missed out, I was going to say, is the Panini party this year, the VIP party.
Yeah.
I could not bring myself to pay $12,000 to get in.
12,000.
Wow.
It's $12,000 this year.
Wow.
And that was like if you were like had a hookup through, or like you're a preferred buyer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Usually I went the last couple of years.
Hmm.
And the first year it cost me, I think, $4,000, and the second year it cost me $5,000. I heard last year was $8,000, and this year was $12,000, and they gave you less packs. So,
Right.
like the packs are pretty cool though. I mean, you get those national silver packs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which are good, and then you get the gold packs, which are better, and you get like a sparkle, like one of those black sparkle boxes that I had, and you also get some Father's Day cards or something. But I think the big thing was because Wemby is in it in the first Spurs
right.
uniform. So a lot of people were kind of after that. But $12,000.
Crazy.
Crazy.
That is crazy. Jeez. All right. Last question. And you kind of talked about this, but was your favorite non-sports card related thing to do in Chicago? Because I love the city myself. So yeah, what did you do that's worth checking out next time it's in Chicago? Yeah.
I would say that architectural boat tour
Okay.
was actually quite amazing. At first, when you first hear about it, you're like, I want a boat.
Right. That's what I'm thinking right now, but okay, go ahead.
Honestly, I've been to Chicago so many times and I've never done this, and I've been suggested, like many people have suggested to go.
Yeah.
And I actually went, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Interesting.
You get to see the city. Chicago is like Toronto, but like it's exponentially more buildings
Right.
along the water. It's crazy how many buildings there are. I guess the guide was really good too because she had a lot of historical like stuff about it.
Mhm.
Like she's a teacher by trade, but then she does that boat tour on the side. but I thought it was really, really good information. Definitely, every time I go to Chicago, I try to catch a game. This time it happened to be at Guaranteed Rate Field. Usually I go to like, sorry, that's my dog food feeder.
That's all right.
And usually I go to Wrigley, but I was really happy because this year's game was the Cubs versus the White Sox.
I know that's it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, so I think that's really good. And if you get a chance, I would go by the Fulton Market. So there's a place in West Loop. Basically, it's a lot of food stuff. If you're a food person,
I am.
They have so many different options, types of food there. And I spent a whole day there,
Cool.
just going to trying different food and walking around. Like, it was really, really nice.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are my really, really favorite things I did in Chicago when I was not at the National.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. 2025. Can't wait for the Chicago show to go there again in a couple of years, but Cleveland first next year. Darrell, always a pleasure to have you on. And we'll definitely have to meet up soon in person to rip some more boxes and cases. It'll be fun.
Yeah, let me know. I got some
very soon
sitting around.
Very soon. I've had the itch, Darrell, so yeah, let's do it.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
I'll come by.
All right.
All right, so another great interview with our friend Darrell. We're always glad to have him come by the podcast and share his hilarious stories. And like we said in the interview, we'll be definitely meeting up with him in person soon and breaking a box. And just having fun with him.
Maybe a case,
okay.
Clark.
Maybe a case. Sorry, I forgot who I was talking about. So when we're talking about Darrell, case is always a possibility. All right, let's finish off this show with our regular weekly segment we call Pick One. Do you have one already? Because I have one.
Yeah,
as well, but,
why don't you fire it off, Clark? We'll start with you first.
Yeah, I was gonna ask this at the top of the show, but I thought I could use it for our Pick One, and you'll see what I mean. If that Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani Topps Now card, right, that we were talking about at the top of the show, if that was ever on the market, all right, would you buy that card for $100K, right? 100,000.
Okay.
Yes, $100K, $100,000.
Yeah.
Or would you buy the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle PSA 4 for the exact same amount?
Wow. Oh, man.
This is kind of a John question, like these theoretical.
This one's a tough one because it's like, the mantle, you know? You know what? I might sound crazy, but I'm swinging for the fences on a more expensive mantle, a better graded mantle. So I'm going to leave just because it's available. Like for me, my justification is, man, I guarantee you these cards won't leave Trout, Ohtani. Maybe the translator's hand if he's struggling down the road one day. You know? So it's like, yeah, for me,
okay,
I'm buying one of those. Yeah.
But then then that's a PSA 9, 10.
Oh, he got the 9, right? I'm sure, yeah.
He was holding the 9.
So not the 10s. Just the 9.
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah, you know what? That doesn't matter. It's 1 out of 3, right? And, you know, it's numbered, individually numbered. There's a huge story behind it. It's one of the greatest moments of international baseball in history of international baseball. You know, that was the pitch that struck out, you know, for the gold medal in the World Baseball Classic, and Ohtani was facing Trout, right? And they're both signed. Yeah. So for me, I think, I know a lot of probably purists will say, the mantle, no brainer. But I just think if I'm going to buy a mantle anyway, it's going to be probably, I'm going to try, if I'm already spending that money, I'm going to try getting a better grade mantle. So I'm going to go with the Ohtani, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. You know what? I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer, but I'm still going with the mantle PSA 4.
I know you would.
Just, you know, it's more stable and it is a Topps Now card. We talked about this before. You know, like, you know, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I love the card. Like the dual auto, USA inscription by Mike Trout. I'm assuming Shohei wrote Japan in Japanese.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that's a cool thing, you know, and then, like you said, it's numbered to 3. But there's questions, you know, like how if it could retain value over the years. You know,
I think it will 100%. I think there's a lot. There's only 3 in supply, and then how many people would think along the lines, right, of that? But it's justifiable. I could see both ways. Like the safe side in me, which doesn't exist, would say the mantle, but that's boring.
I think we both chose our sides, and no one's surprised by it. So
this is a good one, though, man. It's a good one.
You got one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. This is more from a collector perspective, and it's always a battle. This is especially you because I know that you're always about big Bowman Chrome over Topps Chrome rookie, right? So it's like I respect that. And I'm the same way. I think, you look back and you look at some cards, you're like, I wouldn't mind a base of a Bowman First Chrome. But would you rather a Bowman First Chrome, let's just say base auto PSA 10, right? So let's just take Acuna, for instance. He's a great example. Acuna 2017 Bowman Chrome auto PSA 10 versus a Topps Chrome, 2018 rookie auto blue refractor. In a PSA 10. Right? So would you rather have the Topps Chrome blue color of a rookie auto or a base auto in a Bowman First? Because I just went on blue, Topps Chrome blue, because comps seem pretty even. Maybe it favored the blue a little more, but it's a little more rare. So I think, it's somewhere around that $2,500 US mark.
Yeah. You know what? If you asked me this even a year ago, it would be super easy. I would have just gone Bowman Chrome.
Right.
First autos. Like, that's what I like to collect.
Right.
But I don't know if I'm willing to spend more money in general for rarer numbered cards.
Now? You're on that train, eh?
I'm kind of on it, man. Like
it.
Topps Chrome, color, numbered to 150 in this case, but just numbered in general. On-card auto, and then you look at the base auto, and I'm really buying it for the brand of Bowman Chrome in that case. So, all things considered equal, and especially the price, I'm going to go with the Topps Chrome blue in this case. Yeah,
I would have never thought that you would have said. Hey, and last point on that, though, I want to make. Would this matter? Because Acuna's auto in Topps Chrome, we all know that, he signed with his left hand, but then his 2017 one, that's like an Ohtani auto, like that original Ohtani auto. Would that play a factor in it at all? Like longevity, like the type of auto that Acuna has on his Bowman First?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I want to say no, but it's definitely a thought.
It's not a factor that would persuade you to stick with Bowman.
I might change my mind next year, but not right now. Not right now. But you know what? If it was Shohei, I'm like, oh, definitely it would play a factor.
Right.
Because there's such I don't know. For some reason, I just put a higher value on Shohei's original autos. Than Acuna. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I think I still like color and rarity, and I think it won't get the love that Bowman Chrome does, but base autos for me, it's just, there's no rarity, there's no flash, there's no, anything special about it in terms of the look of it. And I'm like, if I'm holding something, I like to have something shinier than, non-shiny, preferably. But it's the auto that really bugs me. I just love Acuna's auto in 2017. And it's just after that, he hasn't had a good auto, right? So, but at this point, I'm with you. I'm still going color rarity over kind of the base game, even though it PSA 10 base is, a little more rare, but it's still readily available, right? So,
yeah. All right, we sweep on that. That was a good one. We should do it again next year for sure, because we might
go back. Yeah,
change my mind. Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, that ends our episode today. Thanks one more time to Darrell for coming on to the podcast, having a great interview with us. We might have one more guest to talk about their national experience, but it's been fun just getting post-national coverage from Rob, Iowa Dave, and Darrell. So, definitely got FOMO. we'll definitely try our best to go to the National next year. But with that, we'll see you next week for a brand new episode on Cards to the Moon. See ya, bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.